All right, so good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. So I am recording. This is January 11th, our 9:30 meeting. We had a wonderful meeting last night at 8 p.m. with our people from Australia and Croatia. And today we have Tracy from the UK, which is very exciting. Since this is really our first week, I did want to do a little bit of house cleaning. You've signed up for the 6 weeks course with Dawn. So I will be providing curriculum online on the platform, but I have bundled, so you have all the resources from winter 2021, which will include PDFs to download so that you can use it for your, for example, the music composition sheets for Pi, Phi, and E are there, so you can print them up and use them for your practicing, along with the Hitting Dawn code, as well as the worksheets that we'll be using for the assignments and the various projects and experiments we're going to be doing over the next 6 weeks. So all of that is accessible to you. Again, you've got the winter curriculum from 2021 that has all those PDFs, along with the course that's called Topic Numbers. And that just takes you through kind of just the magic of the number 9 and just gives you a little bit of a basis and a foundation for what we are going to be doing over the next 6 weeks. So with that, Dawn, take it away.
There's so much to learn. And the more that we have to learn, I think means the farther we along on walking our path. So I wanted to ask you, at a certain point, we just become servants. We do our seva. The gong is simply an instrument to allow us to bring happiness to people. So we're a little limited now because of the virus. So how do you usually use your gong? That's my question to you. What are the events? We've listed so many different events now, and a lot of those events you can't do because of the virus. But however, we can do it remotely. So we're making more of a transition into remote right now because of that. So what do you do? I'm going to ask you, the participants. Look at that, her camera's going all over the place.
So Stacy is walking up to her healing studio,
which
is where
really?
Her gongs are, so she can share her gongs with
Stacy.
us. All right, so while she's getting herself acclimated and set in,
who else is here? Just Stacy? Yeah?
She's our live participant, and then we'll be recording this as well to place online.
All right.
So while she's getting herself set up, why don't we take a look behind us at this 8 corners gong.
Right.
A 32-inch. We've got the runic symbols for the 8 directions, and superimposed on this, we've placed the numbers. So these we got online. They are basically kindergarten classroom. The colors don't really have any significance per se. Like I said, it's from a kindergarten, but they are easy to take on and off without damaging the gong. So they're very useful for this project. Yeah. You can also use Post-its as well. And the idea is we've used the template of the Enneagram to place on the gong as a sort of map or directional for playing by the numbers. Once you have established where your numbers are, you're not going to need them anymore. But just for the beginning, it's very easy to visually have them located. On our last Zoom, a good question was asked, where exactly are you playing the numbers? So if you've seen Dawn's number 9 gong, you can see it's been a gong that was specifically designed and built by Rolf Nietzsche, and it has knobbies, 9 of them. So on this type of symphonic gong, you're going to be playing the numbers really on the flat place where it's going to be most resonant. So this would be your 9, your 1, your 2, your 3, 4, etc. It's not to say you can't play on the rim, but in terms of our practice, we'll be using the most resonant portion, which is the flat portion. Anything to add to that?
That's very good. And it could be a steel drum. It could be a regular drum. Anything that is a circle that you can actually apply this Enneagram on the gong itself. After a while, perhaps you don't even need it because you'll know exactly, because your body has been trained to hit in that particular area. Look at that beautiful gong that you have there.
So we're going to ask Tracy to unmute herself, and please present your gong to us.
Please.
Okay, so so this is a 39-inch stainless steel. I've only had it a few weeks. One of my friends, he had some gongs sort of made especially for his new company. He's doing training, sort of gong training and sound healing training. So I went up to see him and fell in love with it. So I said, I've just got to have it. So yeah, so a couple of weeks, I'm still getting to know the gong's still getting to know me. Yeah, would you like to, do you want to hear the gong?
I'd like to hear it, yes.
Yeah?
Mm.
Right, okay, my flumies are over there, so I will just strike the gong. So,
So unfortunately, Tracy, have you done any coordination with your Zoom to get the maximum sound out of the Zoom?
Probably not.
Okay, so there's a free course that Claudio Salinas put up on the site, and it kind of walks you through the settings of getting your Zoom settings so that we can really hear the gong. Because unfortunately, we heard that first tone and then it went away. Is in your top left corner where it says original sound off?
Original sound. That's done. Let me see.
Yeah, in the upper left corner. Yeah.
Upper left.
It says original sound on or off.
Okay. I'm on my iPad, so
I see.
I've got
okay.
Camera. Yeah.
Later, if you'd like, we're going to have you join our private Facebook page for this course. And there's a wonderful guide that Claudio posted in terms of how to maximize your settings for the Zoom. Okay.
Right. Okay. I've gone into meeting settings, but I can't see anything. So I need to have a look at this.
Fantastic. For next meeting. That would be great.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful gong. And also the playing areas, if you hit the gong, let's say around between the 9 and the O center, you've got that space, and then you got the space above it, and the spaces above that. Higher on the gong, a little higher. Yeah, hit there. Yep. Let me hear.
Mm-hmm. We heard the beginning portion and then the Zoom cuts it out, but it sounds beautiful. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then what about a little bit lower into that second circle?
It's almost like a step ladder. You hit the center, a little higher, a little higher, a little higher, each one.
Yeah, you only hear the first boom and then the Zoom.
Yeah.
And what's it made of? Is it a bronze?
Stainless steel.
It's stainless steel. Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. And what is that? So that's a 39-inch. It's also pretty large.
Mm-hmm. Really large. Heavy too.
It's not too bad. It's I've got a 32 symphonic, and it's just slightly heavier than that. So the stainless steel, I can actually manage to carry the 39 quite easily and put it in the car. And yeah, so the pasty obviously is, the stainless steel is a lot lighter.
Who makes them?
Well, I don't know. He didn't tell me. However, I was talking to Sheila about it, and I think there's only possibly, I've got his name here. There's a guy in the UK that makes gongs. I'm just trying to find his name and I can't.
If you find it and you can put it in the chat, that would be lovely.
Yeah, Michael Milas.
Okay. It's
Um,
always nice to know who makes the gongs, sort of the lineage
Yes.
of the gong makers, as well as, you know, one's lineage in terms of teaching as well.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure he will let me know. I think it's not top secret, but I think because they've only just come out, he was being a little bit cautious. So yeah, but I will ask him and confirm that as well and let you know.
Fantastic. And Tracy, we have Bernarda joining us from Croatia.
And she has her gong in the background.
Bernarda, will you unmute yourself and introduce your gong to us?
Hi, everyone. I thought there will be Morgan, Andrea, and many colleagues, but okay, everything's fine. This is Mirror Gong from Brother Etkan, Maine, I think. And I have a little one wind gong and 4 gongs from paste. I have Mars, Uranus, Pluto, and Venus. 6 gongs for now.
Wow.
3 stands from a wood, because for gong bat, if you hit wood, it's not so bad like if you hit metal.
I think I would like to get some wooden stands, since the metal ones, absolutely, you have to hold on to them so they don't squeak. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, keep attention. Metal won't keep attention better. So
Bernarda, Tracy is new to Don's teachings and to playing by the numbers. While you are our advanced, you could be our assistant teacher at this juncture, since you went through the course last year. I wonder, Bernarda, if you could speak to what is it you wish to receive, or any intentions for this 6 weeks course with Don?
It's always amazing meetings, and after every gong master training, you will hit gongs from more soul. You will be with more consciousness and learn something about yourself. And I'm growing up, and I'm okay with it. So my English isn't so good like probably yours, and it is situation which I can learn in English more. It's I must learn here.
Fantastic. Well, first of all, your English is improving. I will attest to that. And I think you express yourself very well. Really, each time you keep learning and going deeper and deeper. And I do hope we see more of students from last year joining in, if they can. So Tracy, what I would say is for this first week, I know you are busy also with your other training, but I would ask you to go through the beginning topics course just to acclimate yourself with the number concept. And then the homework, as we like to say, for this week is to take the music sheet from one of the rational fractions, either pi, phi, or e. And the minimum amount of homework is take one of them and play the first 999 digits, which may seem a huge task, but realistically, it's basically 20 to 40 minutes of gong playing. And then what that does is it will get you into the space with your hand-eye coordination that it just is super easy. The beginning part of playing by the numbers is very interesting because you're looking at the sheet, you're looking at the numbers, you're kind of getting your physical, motor, muscle memory acclimated to this process. And then once that becomes really fluid, there's more levels that we're going to deep dive into throughout the 6 weeks. So that would be the first homework. Bernarda, since you've been doing this whole time, and for people who've, are sort of further along this pathway, what Don is requesting is that you take one of the irrational fractions that we haven't done yet, pi, phi, or e. So you can take Pi Phi Re if you're really like holding on tight to Pi Phi Ni, but take one of the other irrational fractions on the list that's posted on the site, and create the music for it in terms of, you can decide if it's going to be the first 99 digits or the first 999. And then do a little homework assignment of one, explaining to us about that irrational fraction versus the other ones we've already learned about, and then playing it.
Okay, all right. So how many irrational fractions do we have now on the screen?
For the beginners, we're doing Pi Phi and E.
All right. But you know, there's innumerable ones. And every time that you play one of these fractions that make up our invisible universe, they're all going to be different. None of them are the same. When you go up to just to practice on the gong, or you have your communion with the gong, and you start a boogie with the gong, you don't have any pre-plans at all. Your arms are just hitting the gong and you're listening with your ear. And this is, you are, no matter what you do, are tapping into the universe because of the fact of the irrational fractions on the number 9 or the Enneagram on the face of the gong are following a certain pattern that resonates the first. Usually when we do this technique, we're up close and personal, aren't we? So that the energy is coming into the third eye, but for the gong players also, it's coming into the higher third eye. And so we are really creating new synapses when we're playing the gong face on. And we are, if we're following a certain pattern, then that is very, very important, so that when we are just improvising, we become a better channel for it. So this is why we put the number of the gong, number 9, on it like that. After a while, like, you have such a beautiful gong, I'm sure you're thinking, well, I don't want to put anything on that. It looks so nice the way it is. But you can imagine that it's there. You know, you can approximate it as well. So the irrational fractions come to our aid. Nobody's doing anything with them anyway. The scientists and everybody, they just cut them off after a few digits, and all the tail of it says, well, it goes on forever, forget about it. So they just use this part. So nobody cares if we use the rest of it. So we can go ahead and just take maybe the first 9, maybe the first 90. You see, we can gradually take little bigger bites of it until we can play it with one hand on the gong itself. Why are we playing with just one hand gonging? Why not use 2? Well, it's possible to do that, but I believe that we should first also do it just with this arm and then switch and do it with this arm using one mouth in the beginning. So this is the way that we practice. So, but when we do it, we have to employ this chakra here. This is what the 5th chakra, the etheric one. So as we play the gong, we use it not quite like a piano, but because every gong is different. But as you do the vowels of A, E, I, O, U, as you're hitting the gong, making that union, then you can find special spots on your gong. Then when you're not thinking about it, you know that you're automatically going to let the gong guide you into playing at certain areas. So this is the magic of the gong playing. So with your gong, it would be wonderful to explore. But here on these gongs here, we got the center of the gong. Everyone knows, I think, that there's just a sound ray coming out of here. It's nude one coming out here. If I move it a little bit more here, I can still have a ray coming out, but it has some garments on it so that it's clothed in a certain way with the overtones and all around the gong, and it changes as we go. So just practicing the irrational fractions is just the mere opposite of just boogieing and jiving on the gong. I suggest to people that, because they're both so important, that when they are just playing like this on them, make sure that your phone is there capturing the event of your improvisation so that you can see where the mallets strike the gong just as you're doing it in a sort of blind way. And then write those numbers down according to our formula, and then go ahead and try to redo this. It's like doing the acting in a play the second night. You do it again, but this time, all of a sudden, this next time you do it, something special is added to it. So this is what we suggest in the way of playing the gong, but put the sound to it as well. Do you play any other instruments? Well, you could play the piano. So we suggest to everybody that we just got this. It's so great. It's so light here. Like that. It's very light. And so what I can do is that I can choose an aphorism, an affirmation, or Shruti, we call it, and know the melody hidden in these irrational fractions that go on forever. So I can take an excerpt from that long and I can put it out and I can say, I wonder what the melody is. So I can now pick those out on the piano keyboard. However, I got to go realize too that when I play the same formula on the gong, it's a totally different type of system. This is tempered a little bit, so they all sound good together. The gong is mysterious. You've got to seek the sound in different areas. And because it's a living thing, it will, when we say the guru inside the gong, means it's a living thing, and that it changes with the weather, the time, et cetera, so that it is always constantly changing like we are. So this is, I suggest everybody get one of these and carry it with you. Now,
that seems a little excessive. They don't have to carry it with them. Put it in there.
I want to keep this.
You want to keep that one. Okay. Can you speak a little more to the reasoning, the why and the how of utilizing your voice, your fifth chakra, in terms of communing with the gong and in terms of this process?
You know, some people say, why is it so important to play the gong for somebody who's leaving their body? Well, number one, if you play the gong, the person's going to have a dislocation from their body anyway. They're going to go into the invisible. But the reason for this is that at the time of our demise, after we finish our cycle, we already have gone out. We have sort of died while you're still alive, according to the Bible. You have gone into that etheric realm, the heavenly worlds, and you're kind of used to it. So this is why it takes away the fear of dying. We play it for people who are on their deathbed. So, and this energy, this prana, and all that the gurus in the past have considered was the fact that if they have a lot of mantras and prayers of their disciples going for them, they're going to use this energy to help them to go through the blue ethers into the higher heaven worlds. Now, we know that when we're doing our gong immersions, and we have a crowd of, let's say, 20 people, or 12 or whatever it is, that each one of them goes to a different heaven. And this idea is that you go to your own private heaven or your private hell, and you go into the ethers like that. And each time that you do, your angel wings grow a little bit. So you become more and more angelic in your molecules. So people don't know that, and some of our people don't really believe that, and sometimes it's made more figurative than it is literal. So we do it that way. But main thing is to put the mantra or the aphorism or the Shruti song with the tones that come out of the gong and out of your keyboard here. If you play another instrument, like a trumpet or whatever it might be, then of course you would play it into the gong. You'd play it through the gong. And that way you can find out when all of a sudden it sparks and all of a sudden that sound changes and it becomes like, ooh. So that thing is that so that we can develop our ability to find the sweet spot, almost like an archer can hit the bullseye every time. Well, this is what I believe. This is what we're learning.
So depending on your voice, you can use a diphthong, an overtone, you can whistle and go around your gong and see where you get a response back. And then you can also use the conch or a shofar or a ram's horn or trumpet or whatever instrument you want to do, and see about making that connection between what resonates, what gets your gong excited.
It's the connection that is so inspiring to us, keeps us wanting more and more and more. So that's what we feel about the gong. And I know Sheila, which is a wonderful teacher that she is and everything, has been doing such great work. I am not really teaching the strokes anymore. Well, I will if I have to, but I'll leave that up to younger gong masters. So
in the sound healing with Sheila, Tracy, can you speak to that? Are you going through the various gong strokes for handheld and suspended or hung gong?
Well, yes.
No,
Sure.
I'm asking.
You're
Tracy? Oh, she froze.
She froze.
Her connection froze on us.
But this is something, of course, that we need to teach, pass on to everybody. So once you get a gong, you're looking for a student always, somebody that you can share it to that might, with a potency, pass it on to somebody else. And there's a reason for that, why we're doing it now more than ever, is because we've just completing what we call the Piscean age. And this age of Pisces also is the age of what we call the Kali Yuga, the dark ages. We as a humanity now, and especially 2025, when we are emphasizing that, when the energies are more available around the earth, and by that time, I'm hoping that there will be a gong player in the family, in the network, in every country in the world. So this is what we're working for. We do that because at a certain point, when there's enough gong players in the world serving the humanity, well, then there might be a quantum shift of the overall planet. And the 2025, I have set the date hoping that maybe this means that we will not attack or fight anybody anymore. We will not try to take over territory. We will just connect in functional harmony. This is the hope, so that we save our earth as it goes through its changes. So we have a big plan and a little plan, but mainly is to be able to be a pure channel for the healing energies. So, and all the different gongs that we have, a gong is a gong is a gong is a gong. You can use the same techniques on them, even if it's a knobby gong, meaning it's got knobs on it like this. They are very good for practicing where you hit, because they are designed. A knob allows a sonal ray to come out. That's why they're so important in the gamelan orchestras, because each of those different notes have a sonal ray. All right. Hello.
That's Yin coming in from Africa. Wow. Wonderful to see you.
Yeah, I always try to catch the time different.
Yes. What time is it there?
Now it's 8 o'clock in the evening, so it's good.
It's nice.
Fantastic. Well,
Yeah.
it's very exciting to see you. We're just getting started with week 1 for this next 6 weeks course, playing by the numbers. Yin, have you had a chance to play by the numbers at all?
I think I did in the in Dawn's Gone for Humanity in London.
Correct. So what Yin is referring to is the 2018, I believe it was,
Yes.
194 gong players joined in an attempt to break a Guinness World Record. And that was the first composition that Bob Horwell and Dawn worked together, a choreographed composition that we all did together for this event, which was really exciting. Yin, can you speak to that? How was that for you that day?
Oh, okay. I went to London with my students from China, also some students from Dawn, Dawn students from China. And then when the people from all over the world gathering together, it was really amazing, exciting, and the energy is amazing. I think this is the event, is the only one event in your life.
Yes. Well, I'm hoping that we get at least one more of those events for Dawn's life.
I would like to be.
So it would be wonderful to do that again. I believe that choreographed composition started with the Rainbow Bridge. So we were doing 1, 4, 2, 8, 5, 7, and combinations of the Rainbow Bridge, along with the hidden gong code, which is the hidden trine of the 369. I believe.
Well, yeah, we introduced it at that time, but there were like 5 parts to the composition we did because we had 5 minutes only, so it's very short for this competition. So we did 4 other ones, and Bob chose this stroke and that stroke and that stroke and that stroke, so that we were able to be one gong master in many bodies on a visual level as well as an audio. So that was the objective of that. However, now we've gone on, and we would like to continue this, because how do you know what you're looking for when you haven't found it yet? Is sort of our go get them. That's how we go get them. We want to know the unknown. So, and since the gong is constantly changing us, it's like, it's a joker. Some days it does, sometimes it doesn't, and all that. So we always have to freshly discover it. This is something that we're going to have to work on. But the main thing is that we have to open up our throat chakras. I know a lot of you are, myself, I was tone deaf and they wouldn't let me in the Glee Club. So a lot of us have blocks put up, but we have to dematerialize those blocks, and the gong's power of dematerialization, it comes to our aid. So we begin to learn how to hear with the inner ear rather than these 2 ears. So that is very important in the future. This is why we advise everybody to get a little keyboard. Do you have a keyboard?
I have.
You got one.
Harmonium.
Well, all right.
Bernarda has a harmonium, which works as well. Yin says she has a keyboard. Tracy says, thinking in her head, I'll get one. I'm going to get one.
Get one.
Oh, yes. They're so much fun. And you'll be able to create your own Shruti songs. So that's really our assignment. I think one of the assignments is to be able to create a Shruti. Everybody knows what a Shruti is.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, it's a revelation. It's a wisdom it would drop. It's like, but you can take anything. You could even take your birth date. My one is 9/8/34. So I can take my birth date and I can play it on the gong. Okay, so what does it do? Well, it's hand-eye coordination. Okay, what else? So then we might go for, maybe we're going to take another number and play it on the gong. The only obstacle that I see in this is that where do you put your sheet music so that you can see what you're playing and play the gong at the same time? So you could either put it on these stands like we usually do, and we can just look over there with our eye. Or what else could we do? We could also go ahead and I'm now doing it on my phone, recording 1 4 2 8 8 5 7 6 4. Now I've recorded it. I put my headphones on and I'm listening to this sound of 1 4 2, and now I can use my voice to hum with the gong while I'm listening to the particular pattern that I've chosen to do. So there are many creative ways that we can sidestep the ability or the inability to read these irrational fractions while we're playing the gong. This is, I think, very important for us to develop this higher third eye. Also, I think that we need to be able to use our vowel sounds to massage our brain. And the question would be to you, how is your overtoning coming? How do you employ it? And then put it into the gong.
So feel free to unmute yourself. And remember, this is as interactive as you make it. So we'd love to hear, one, are you using overtoning? And if so, how? And would you be willing to give us a little demo of how you would use your overtoning with your gong? And they're all jumping. Be courageous. How about you give us a demo and then maybe it'll open up their.
All right, so here's it. So I'm going to just hit it somewhere. I know it's going to sound okay. Like that. Or if I hit it here. Well, of course, it's doing its thing, but here in the gong of the body, here where the thymus gland is, I'm also activating it as well. So this gong and that gong is together, and the vowels that we use for the chakras, which is the U for the lower chakras, the A for the heart and the open chakras, the A for the throat, the E and the E are all being massaged at the same time. If you don't do it already, and maybe you do, I ask you to please practice doing that so that you can give feedback or report back. How did it go for you with your gong? And so I take it that this is an assignment.
You've now added an extra assignment, yes, but it's a fun one. You're going to enjoy this assignment. I will place this under the homework for this week on the site, as well as the sheets that if you don't have those resources, the various diphthongs and terms of how to open and close your mouth to make those sounds and the correlations to the various chakras and other systems as well. So that'll be on the site as well. Just give me a few hours after we finish the Zoom to get that up there. Now, do we have anyone who is willing to unmute and do it live for us?
Overtone.
Yeah.
something like.
Thank you, Bernarda. Who's next?
Let's all jump in.
Okay, I'll do it only because I've always been, you wouldn't know this from these Zooms, but I am not a public speaker. And so one of the gifts of the gong for me in the last 20 years has been to be able to actually speak to a group and not want to die. So I'll try. I'll try.
Nice. Oh, look, you have your harmonium out. Look how nice that looks.
That looks like Gabriella's joined us.
Yes. Gabriella, hello.
She's frozen, so she'll let us know when she joins us as well. All right, Yin, Tracy, what do you think? Has the courage come to you? We've thrown it to you.
Okay,
Well,
I would.
No, you carry on.
Well,
there's enough time for everyone. All right, so
okay. I would say that rather than, because we'll run up against a brick wall, we don't want to do that. We want to walk through walls. So the thing to do is to speak through it. Hello. Hey. We want to ring that gong's bell. So once we begin to do that, you're going to activate of course, yourself at the same time. And rather than singing through it, what you do is just speak through it. To be or not to be, that is the question. Gong, gong. So that try different ways. Everybody can speak. There's no problem with that. So therefore, speak through the gong, because also when we're doing our workshops or with public appearances, what's the big problem? Well, we don't project our chi to the back of the room. It kind of drops somewhere. So we begin to develop the wider view of things and to be able to overcome any type of obstacles to that. So that being said.
But the courage got to them. So Tracy, do you want to unmute yourself and give it a go?
Yeah, I will. Oh. Oh.
That's it. Yeah. Now the follow-up for that would be, you hit it in one spot. Where did you hit the gong? Where did your bell hit?
Hit the gong sort of here, just above, so in between the center and the top.
Now, so what you would do is that you would hit somewhere else and do that same type of,
Okay.
Do it in 3 different places, 3 different sounds.
What we'll do is we'll keep that for next week, because I do want you to get your audio settings in check so that we'll be able to hear you doing that. That'll be wonderful. Okay. Yin, do you mind unmuting yourself and giving it a go?
She's there. Okay, so you'll work on that. It's not hard.
Oh no, Yin, you need to unmute yourself.
Because I didn't set up the audio, maybe the sound is okay.
All right.
Wow.
It's interesting because it looked like we were going to have an audio issue, but then we could hear both the gong and you overtoning. So that was beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I will set up. Today I just in a rush. I didn't set up.
So that definitely you can also use the different points. And then
try your diphthongs. Once you begin to do that, it was so beautiful. I'd immediately transferred over these thousands of miles into our hearts. So, but remember now, try the EU is one, ow is another one, is another one. So begin to work with sparking these diphthongs coming together to see if they're going to propagate with a higher overtone. And then this would be the way to do it. So just that technique. Now it's just the follow through would be the A-I-O-U diphthongs, and then begin to see where that affects your body as you do that. So somebody else would like to do it?
Gabrielle is having an issue with her sound, so
right.
She'll join us later. So we've got a few things going on here. Adding the voice. Don's been doing a lot of research, which as I get more and more information from him, I will put on the website as well. Currently, can you talk a little bit about what your research has been in regards to the brain and the skull as a resonating chamber?
We're going to add that in, of course, with diagrams, because when I do it, I select different parts of the cave of consciousness, the coppery inside. I direct the beam up to certain things, the pineal gland, the pituitary body, different spots in the body. I'll direct this ray in there in order to activate the brain cells. So if sometimes you can transfer it even over these thousands of miles or hundreds of miles between you and me, I can actually vibrate your brain cell over a distance, called oddity at a distance. But if I go, well, I've given my entire brain a good massage, and so after you do that, then you have awakened certain synapses, and you have also flushed. We call it exercised the brain as we exercised it. We exorcised at the same time. You know?
So this is giving a whole new perspective on I'm a gong, you are a gong, resonating fully as a gong. And it's really interesting because there's so much that's happening with the brain, and it's, you know, the genome. So we're basically always adding on to this. There's certain things we know, there's certain things we don't know. We know about the left and right hemispheres. We know about the frontal lobe in terms of its development through the age of 25, but really accessing these portions of the brains with your intention. You can do this both with open orifices or closed. So Don demonstrated it with open orifice, but a closed orifice would be taking your fingers and closing the ear and then doing that. So you're actually, it's like shutting the door into your gong event, right? So the sound just gets, is resonating more fully. And then the third option is open and closed. So where you pulse your ears while you're doing it. So try it all three ways.
Mm-hmm. Very good. So these things are kind of our own personal sadhana that we do with the gong. The other thing is the use of the mudras. You'll see all the different mudras. Can we pull that mudra?
You want me to share the screen?
The mudra, yeah.
Yeah, I will do that right now.
Because we have this other hand, and we know from Reiki that we can project the zonal ray in Reiki from our hands, so that as we make different connections with it, we can send different energies to people. Oh, well, everybody knows Jnana Yoga. So this is here, this is really called Raj Mudra. We call it Gyan Mudra, Jnana Yoga. And so this is that. So if I hold my hand up here and I'm playing the gong one hand at a time, then I can use this hand to go up close and personal to the heat area where this disintegrating, and capture all that energy in my hand. And then as I continue to play, I can direct now, I've made the connection, I can direct, focus the gong that fills all space in through a zonal ray, through my hand, at the same time to my clients or to my class. So the different mudras that you would use would simply shape the that ray. Now, did you find it?
I brought up the use mudras to shape the ray of intention and sound. I'm just adding that to our chat. So when I shared the screen, we saw, this is from our MEM yoga course, but I will provide this as a PDF for your use as well. So we've got the mudra, we've got the various.
Well, look at this, tranquility, it's right up there. Here, circulation sex is the meridian. And it regulates the mood and the heart and everything. It does that. So we can smile while we're doing it with our heart. Of course, it helps a lot.
I'm making that mudra.
All right. And what is that mudra for?
This is the tranquility, the one that you just spoke about.
Yeah.
And you wrote as your note, smile inwardly towards your heart, feeling your chest open and relaxed, which might be a good one if you're just beginning to play by the numbers, to hold this mudra so that you feel calm and centered while you're doing it.
But what an adventure and super sensitivity, because then we're ambidextrous as gong players. So we move it to the other hand. And now I'm going to use this one here or this one here for it. And I'm going to play and do the same thing, collect the here into this gong, from the big gong to this gong, and then turn this one out to direct with your eyes where the zonal ray is going to go. So this is called oddity or healing at a distance. And especially if you got a room full of maybe 10, 15 people, that you can specifically begin to direct the zonal ray to each person individually. So this is the possibilities of it.
What would you say to someone who's just beginning and saying, like, I have enough on my plate, just making sure my group is accounted for and good, and I'm playing and I'm keeping my connection with the people, and that's where I'm at. Would you say this is something to consider using in your private practice or as next level?
That's our fail-safe, isn't it? The fail-safe position is that if I'm not using my prefrontal cortex for following a pattern like that, and I just begin to fly, we call flying by the seat of your pants, and whatever happens, happens. And both of these are very important to do. Look at that. Who is that?
Yin's coming back.
Yin.
I love that we're going to have this all in recording. As the technology of Zoom, people pop in and out. But you're focusing on the lesson.
All right, so we have these things. I don't know if they're helpful, but you bought these. This is a little soft cushion that you can set up anywhere to put.
You can set up your iPad, your sheet music, etc. Every time Don has a challenge or dilemma, I look on Amazon and see how I can solve it. So we also got little stickers that have the notes as well. So I don't have a musical background. I think I played clarinet for 2 years in 7th grade. So for me, this has all been a wonderful learning. So if you have a music background, this might be super easy. And if you don't have a musical background, don't worry about it. We're giving you the basics that you need to continue on this journey. But yeah, you can get little stickers to put on your keyboard, as well as numbers for the gong and your keyboard as well, so you can correlate those numbers. A good question we had last night was, why is the note C related to the number 1?
Oh, well, it's just arbitrary because you can do composition changes. You can, for instance, to fit the range of your voice if you like, but usually the very middle of the keyboard is perfect for everybody. So that's why we just limited to that. But you could also play alongside of that the other octaves of the piano keys as well. Doesn't matter. So it's very important for you to be able to speak when you're playing as well. So it used to be that if people didn't have a good voice, but everybody can talk. So go ahead and remember your shruti is so important. Your choice before your workshops, very important, these program changes, because once that we have activated the higher third eye, then that shruti is going to find fertile ground to become part of you and to change your course of direction if you want to. So this is why we do it. So, but don't be shy. Pretend that you're all alone and the world is not watching. This is a good yoga to work on.
So can you speak a little bit more to this idea of the upper third eye in case there's someone out there who
did want to say that in English, because I don't know other languages, English that I use so that it's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, and 9 and 9 and 9 and 9 and 9 and 9. But let's say that you speak a different language, maybe Italian. And so you would take the vowels in Italian, if they're any different, and you would also put them on the numbers as well, whether it's Chinese, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. Each language can then put a number on them. So it all depends upon your alphabet, your language. So it's just not English.
Okay, that's related to the sheet, the PDF that you'll see where he's made a chart using the English alphabet and the numbers and using that to make the connections between the tempered and the untempered world of playing.
I suggest as well, if possible, that you have a mirror. So, okay, so we have some of the gongs that are just clear mirror. So that but you can also put up a mirror on the side that you can look into it, because it's also very important that you make eye contact, tantric contact with your eyes, with yourself at times. So that when I'm gonging, I can also look at my eye while I'm gonging. So to incorporate that, because the Shrad Shabad yoga, light sound yoga, it's possible to do just while you're playing the gong itself. Okay.
So can you speak more to that? Why is that important?
Why what is important?
I mean, it might be an obvious question, but why is it important to make eye contact with yourself while you're playing the gong?
Well, because of the fact that when the eyes get involved, usually when we play, we tend to close them because we don't need them. We can play like that. But to incorporate that as well with keeping the freedom of spirit, then it works even better. So it's good every once in a while to be able to do clear eye tantric meditation on your own eyes. Especially, let's say that you've got a double mirror gong, which is, now we're not talking, it's just that you don't want to polish your gong, take everything off of it, but you can actually buy a gong that it's in its pristine state. When it was just a plate, a round plate, it was a great mirror, that bronze mirror. And so that you could do the person you're playing for, look into their eyes, you could look into your eyes by looking into the thing. But then when we put the clothes on and dressed the gong up and did all that for the sake of beauty, we weren't able to do that. So we've had to incorporate side view mirrors like in your car, or one over the top of the gong like this, so that you can not only look and glance at your own eyes, you can also see behind you without turning around, because most people play with their backs to the audience. So that gives you a way, knowing that even though if you're using your eyes to reflect zonal ray into the mirror, it bounces off the mirror into the direction of your target. So I don't know if that explains it or not, but you have your own way to explain this to your students to show them the importance of it. Share something with me now.
You can either, I'm trying to keep the notes going in the chat, what Don's saying as well, but we're at the point right now where not only have we've done a little learning, we've gotten a lot of assignments for this week. Can you ask a question or a thought, or what has this brought up for you in this last hour? Yes, Bernarda.
I would like to say we start with one hand playing gongs, and for a while I can play with the two hands, and I don't need to look at mirror. I can read numbers and play with two hands. Is it okay too?
Well, yes, do what you can do. It's
Thank you.
Perfect. Whatever you do will be perfect, because you don't want an outside teacher. We don't want to be that outside teacher that interferes with the inner teacher. Our job as an outer teacher is to lead people to the teacher within, where that means that you can't do any wrong. When you play the gong, hey, you can miss it or it can fall over, but other than that, everything what we call paka are perfect.
Thank you. And can I ask Yael, can we get in mail assignment, because maybe sometimes I didn't catch every word and it will be easier, important for me. Yeah.
Absolutely. Just so you know, I'm an acupuncturist. I am not this. So as I'm embodying this new role, I take all suggestions that I can upgrade your experience to heart. So absolutely, what I can do is after each Zoom, I can do a follow-up email with the homework and the links as well. You got it.
Since we're talking in English, I'd like each of you to just think of a very powerful programming mantra, thought that you would do. For instance, the ones that are in the Shruti books that we put out: be kind to your soul, show it the way of your heart. Let's say if we were all going to take that and we were going to put it into our gong, what mudra would we use for that, or a combination of mudras? Because in one gong session, you can go through 5 mudras, 5 what we call massaging the tone of it as it goes out to the audience or to ourselves. And so all of these things we need to research together. And hopefully we'll be able to really make some big headway in this. She's going to do something?
Gabrielle is having issues with connection, so that's just her photo, her profile photo.
Okay, we can't hear her.
One of our participants looks like she's playing a beautiful harmonium and she's ready to go.
You can all see that, yeah.
So, any other questions? Yin, Tracy, any thoughts?
Throw your copper pennies in.
I think for me, this is all very new for me. So I'm going to have a look at some of the other videos and really, get to grips with what I'm doing, really. So yeah, I will get there. I seem a bit lost at the moment, but because it's very new. So I've only been on the website. I only signed up yesterday, so I only sort of hit the website today. So like the training. So
there's a lot of information up on the course, because really, if this is just a beginning moment, what is pi? What is phi? What is E? Why? So I will just do a little background here in the sense that these are rational fractions and they make up the seen and unseen universe. If you look in nature, the spiral is connected not only to phi, but also the Fibonacci spiral. It's also related to Euler's constant. In terms of the energetics of the irrational fractions thus far, what we've been getting in terms of our feedback through this process is each one has its own energy or taste while you're playing it. Pi we chose because of the shape of the gong, the shape of the earth, the sacred continual cycle of a sphere or circle. So playing pi is reflective of honoring that sacred shape. The connection of a circle to a square, like your gong and your stand, let's say per se, is really in sacred geometry all about union and completion as well. Phi is the number of the gong. It's the perfect ratio. It's the golden mean. And we just see it in architecture, in beauty, in faces. We have a lot of images online with that. And so phi is very popular with our playing by the numbers crowd. Euler's constant, I know Bernarda can speak to that. Euler's constant is fascinating because really the only reason you'd hear about Euler's constant is in finance, compounding interest. How do the banks figure out how much interest to give you on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis? So it's really about compounding interest. And why that energy is interesting is we've had people in the last year or so utilize that one really for growth and abundance, kind of planting that in the gong as well. But again, these irrational fractions are all connected cousins in a way. And they're all part of that family.
Well, we have on the course, I think now we have 26 or so of these possible scores that you can transfer onto your gong or your bowl. Don't forget now, bowls are the same thing. So we can transfer that over. So when you look at the different irrational fractions that we offer, you can choose any one. They're all different, never the same, never repeating. It's like improvising almost. The world is improvising for you. So you can tap into that. And just any of it will do. But remember now, whenever you just jam on the gong and hitting it with your eyes closed in different places like this and listening to your ears, then that could be anywhere. It could be phi, pi, E. It could be another constant. You see, somewhere along the line, you're plucking the universe's strings and you are having that resonance with it. So but we want to make that subconscious jiving conscious now. And then after we do that, we can go back and in our improvisational ability with the gong will be even higher. So we want to go through that process. So the assignment would be to, what would be a really good saying to program through your gong while your people are listening to you? What have you chosen for that gift of this chakra to the people? Anybody have anything special that they fall back on, maybe? If not, I ask you to go into your Shruti songs and pick out a refrain or a strain or a riff, you can call it, of that, and then begin to play it on your, you will get a keyboard if you don't have one. Play it here so that you can find out what its melody might be like. And then put the words on that melody. And the rhythm, it doesn't matter. You have only to decide where you want to do a pause, where you want to do a rhythm, all that. So you're totally free, like a bird, to experiment. So the assignment is, please think of a really, what do you call it, a nifty saying to reprogram while you're playing the gong. And think about what would be a selection of mudras could I use at the same time, one hand or maybe, and then the other hand, like this. It's this particular technique, of course, it's done with your back to the audience, right? They can't really see the beautiful dance you're playing on the gong, unless, of course, you have a video projection of it like that. So let's see if we can't all do an offering of that.
So are you saying, besides these assignments to practice in your own home, if you do have the opportunity to gong for others, try it out as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Open-ended, real, true research in sound with not anybody's trying to put you into a certain area, but just wide open and see what comes through you. This has other repercussions, repercussion meaning good ones, that as soon as you have primed yourself to a certain extent, then those in this incarnation of yours, those students will show up. This is the magic of it, of course. When you're ready, your students come to you. So they're attracted by your becoming one with the potential of the gong. All right, so does anybody else play an instrument besides gong and shruti, box, or piano? Do you have another instrument that you kind of like to combine with your gong playing? That's a question. What about you?
I have ocean drum. I have tingshaw. Sometimes, how say, jingle bells, Nepal's bells, and drum, shamanic Indian drum from one girl from Netherlands. She's name is Yakinta. She made very nice drums, shamanic drums.
All right, but you may have bells or whatever you do have is that as you're playing these irrational fractions, your sheet music, the O's are especially there so that when you see an O, you can also play a flute at that time, or you could play another instrument so that you can actually bring in the transitional sounds whistles, bird whistles, whatever you're going to play, add those particular things so that you can create a composition of this strain or refrain, and that's banga, and now you do another one, so you can use it in that way if you like.
So you're jumping ahead, which Bernarda, this is easy peasy for her, but for our newbies out there, feel free to do this in week 2 or 3, right? So let's focus this week on playing the numbers, really embodying it and feeling it. And if you are so inspired to move to the next level of assignment, no one's grading your assignment. Definitely do an assignment to share next time we meet live, so we can hear really, the more you get out of it is the more you practice and do this for yourself and for others.
And it'll help you to open the tab and say, well, hi, Don, this is what I've been working on. You want to give it a hear? I'll listen to it. And it'll be like, thank you very much, because you really you focused your beingness into the assignment. And that's the important aspect of it. We don't care what the results are. It's the process is so important.
Absolutely. So this should be a fun 6 weeks. It shouldn't feel pressured. You can't fail. You can only grow.
Well, there's so much to do. So, but we'll start there, won't we? Everybody say yay.
We're yay.
We're
yay. Good. Okay. Fantastic.
I would like to say I used to play harmonica a long time ago. Harmonica is harmony with air, and I didn't practice too long, but I know notes and I can play something easier. Yeah.
Oh, what is it called in English? The one where you
accordion,
where you have the piano keys, and fantastic. Yeah, that'll work as well. We also have a gong master, Michael Enderl, who took our live class of the playing by numbers. And we're actually going to be doing a weekend live class here in Los Angeles in 2 weekends from now. And he has a set of 12 gongs. He actually has 3 sets, but each one is tuned to a specific frequency and note. So one of the things that we hope to do in 2 weeks, and I'll videotape it to put on our site, is playing the irrational fractions using, I think we'll need a minimum of 4 people, 2 people per gong. And instead of playing the irrational fraction on one gong, we'll actually play it with the knobbed notes as well, just for just for yes, for the yes of it all. So the more we also had some experiences. I remember we were talking with one of the gong masters who she felt for her a lot of resistance or stricture of the format, right? So if the gong is all about expansion and you've been playing the gong for many years, boogieing and just doing your thing, if you do have some resistance to, reading the music sheet and playing it as a structure, that's a really interesting challenge to kind of look in. What is that resistance? Because the one thing that Don always inspires me is, after 50 years of doing this, is he's always learning and growing. He's never comfortable just sitting and saying, I'm the gong master. No, it's like the child's mind, the playing in the sandbox, the creation. Every time he says something new, and it's like, why don't we look at it from this perspective? It's really, I think one of the most beautiful lessons that I've learned is about this idea of liberation, not repeating self. So there's something very powerful about having the repetition of a certain process and the lessons and skills that gives us for our toolbox. And there's also something very powerful about the lessons and the challenges that occur from a process where you're not allowed to repeat yourself. You always are doing it slightly different.
Oh, and this idea of playing this way works while you are looking, facing the gong. The other techniques that we use, the ta-ta-ta-ta, or whatever it might be, this is done as well. But this is a specific technique to develop a certain part of the higher third eye and the synapses of what we call the new brain of humanity. So, but the other techniques are equally important. We're just now going to emphasize this particular one because it's totally overlooked, you see. And now we're going to bring it out, play it. However, it's equal with any other techniques that you do. If I was playing with my back to the gong here, this is another technique that we can use. So I'm sure that in your other workshops that the different playing from the side of the gong, playing with your back to the gong also is very, very important. But to compensate for that, that's why we have our side view mirrors, like when we're driving the car, so that even though my back is to the audience, I and my chi is reflecting back to them and they're reflecting to me, so that we're just not in the dark. All the playing in the dark is also wonderful.
Playing in the dark, playing in black light, playing with colors, all of it.
Explore it all.
All right, well, we've come to the end of this Zoom session. I will be placing the recording on the site as well, along with all the relevant data that I think you need, those PDFs, etc. And thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you the next time.
And don't get upset if you say, oh my, I have an assignment, oh my God. Don't worry, okay? Don't think in those terms. Just go ahead. Ooh, the barn doors are opening. Now I'm going to go out and explore the pasture.
Yeah. Thank you.